On February 5, 62, a powerful earthquake struck the Roman city of Pompeii, causing significant damage to buildings and infrastructure. This event foreshadowed the catastrophic eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE, which ultimately buried Pompeii under volcanic ash. On February 5, 756, during the Tang dynasty, General An Lushan proclaimed himself emperor and established the short-lived Yan state. This act marked a significant turning point in the An Lushan rebellion, which severely weakened the Tang dynasty. On February 5, 1810, French forces initiated the siege of Cadiz during the Peninsular War. Despite a prolonged siege lasting over 2 years, the city remained under Spanish control, serving as a stronghold for Spanish resistance against Napoleon's army. On February 5, 1852, the new Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, Russia, opened its doors to the public. As one of the world's largest and oldest museums, it houses an extensive collection of art and cultural artifacts, contributing significantly to global heritage. On February 5, 1869, the largest alluvial gold nugget in history, known as the Welcome Stranger, was found in Moleagle, Victoria, Australia. Weighing approximately 72 kilograms, 158 pounds, this discovery remains unparalleled in the annals of gold prospecting. On February 5, 1901, financier J.P. Morgan incorporated the United States Steel Corporation in New Jersey. The company, which began operations later that month, became the world's first billion-dollar corporation and played a pivotal role in America's industrialization. On February 5, 1907, Belgian chemist Leo Baekeland announced the creation of Bakelite, the world's first synthetic plastic. This invention revolutionized the materials industry, leading to widespread use in various applications due to its non-conductive and heat-resistant properties. On February 5, 1913, Greek military aviators Michael Motousis and Aristides Moritinis conducted the first naval air mission in history. Flying a Farman MF.7 hydroplane, they carried out reconnaissance over the Dardanelles, marking a significant milestone in military aviation. On February 5, 1917, Mexico adopted its current constitution, establishing a federal republic with separate executive, legislative, and judicial branches. This constitution introduced significant social reforms and remains the foundational legal document of the country. On February 5, 1917, the United States Congress enacted the Immigration Act over President Woodrow Wilson's veto. This legislation imposed literacy tests and barred immigration from the Asia-Pacific zone, reflecting the era's restrictive immigration policies. On February 5, 1918, Lieutenant Stephen W. Thompson of the United States Army Air Service achieved the first aerial victory by a member of the U.S. military. While flying as a gunner bombardier with a French bombing squadron over Saarbrücken, Germany, Thompson shot down a German Albatros D-3 fighter. For this action, he was awarded the French Croix de Guerre with Palm. On the same day, the SS Tuscania, a British troopship transporting American soldiers, was torpedoed by the German submarine UB-77 off the coast of Ireland. The ship was part of convoy HX-20, en route from New York to Liverpool, carrying over 2,000 American troops. The attack resulted in the deaths of approximately 200 American soldiers, marking the first loss of a U.S. troopship during World War I. On February 5, 1919, prominent figures of the silent film era, Charlie Chaplin, Mary Pickford, Douglas Fairbanks, and D.W. Griffith, established United Artists. This film studio was created to allow artists to control their own interests rather than being dependent on commercial studios. United Artists became a significant entity in the film industry, producing and distributing numerous influential films. On February 5, in 1924, the Royal Greenwich Observatory began broadcasting the hourly time signals known as the Greenwich Time Signal, or the PIPS. These audible signals became a standard for timekeeping, especially in radio broadcasting, and continue to be used today. On February 5, 1939, Generalissimo Francisco Franco assumed the title of Caudillo de España, becoming the leader of Spain. Following his victory in the Spanish Civil War, Franco established a dictatorship that lasted until his death in 1975. On February 5, in 1941, Allied forces commenced the Battle of Keren in Eritrea during World War II. The battle was a critical engagement between British Commonwealth forces and Italian troops, lasting until March 27, 1941, and resulting in an Allied victory. On February 5, 1945, General Douglas MacArthur returned to Manila, the capital of the Philippines, as part of the Allied campaign to liberate the country from Japanese occupation during World War II. His return marked a significant moment in the Pacific Theater. On February 5, in 1958, Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser was nominated as the first president of the United Arab Republic, a political union between Egypt and Syria. The union represented a significant attempt at Arab unity, though it dissolved in 1961. Also, on February 5, 1958, a U.S. Air Force B-47 bomber jettisoned a hydrogen bomb, known as the Tybee bomb, off the coast of Savannah, Georgia, following a mid-air collision. Despite extensive search efforts, the bomb was never recovered and remains lost. On February 5, in 1963, the European Court of Justice delivered its ruling in Van Gend en Loos v. Nederlandse Administratie der Belastingen, establishing the principle of direct effect. This landmark decision allowed individuals to invoke European Union law provisions directly before national courts, significantly influencing the development of EU law. On February 5, 1971, NASA's Apollo 14 mission successfully landed astronauts Alan Shepard and Edgar Mitchell on the Moon. They conducted 2 lunar walks, collecting lunar samples and conducting experiments, furthering human understanding of the Moon's geology. On February 5, in 1988, Panamanian leader Manuel Noriega was indicted in the United States on charges of drug smuggling and money laundering. The indictment led to heightened tensions between the U.S. and Panama, eventually culminating in the U.S. invasion of Panama in 1989. On February 5, 1997, Switzerland's 3 largest banks announced the creation of a $71 million fund to aid Holocaust survivors and their families. This move was part of efforts to address claims that Swiss banks had retained assets belonging to Holocaust victims. On February 5, in 2019, Pope Francis became the first pontiff in history to visit the Arabian Peninsula. During his visit to Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, he conducted a papal mass attended by tens of thousands, marking a significant moment in interfaith relations. On February 5, 2020, the United States Senate acquitted President Donald Trump in his first impeachment trial. He was acquitted on charges of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress related to his dealings with Ukraine.